Wow. Welcome to Target. I'm your host, Atlas Aultman, former military commander turned best-selling author, now bringing you a podcast that you can use so that you can figure it out for yourself. Welcome. This is Targeted. All right, welcome back to Targeted. Today in the studio, I have JohnKBates, who, if you have followed me at all, you've seen his name multiple times because the man is just amazing. And he's helped me, but he's helped a lot of big names that you know. I don't know if we'll even name some of the names today, but who knows? We're gonna do some great things in mindset, vulnerability. We're gonna talk about some man spaces that a lot of people just don't get into too often. So, John, say hello to everyone.
Well, hello, everyone. I'm really glad to be here. I'm a big fan of yours, Atlas, and I've been watching you put this podcast together and blow it up, and I'm really proud of you, and I'm really honored to be here. So
thanks, man. So earlier today, John gave me a black eye.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you asked for it, right? You asked for it.
No, I called him on was it Monday? Monday night is when it happened. I'm like, dude, I got jacked in the eye. I said it's probably going to be black, and then the next day I was like, it's black. I was like, I'm going to cancel the rest of the shows, but he's in town. You were doing NSA, National Speakers Association stuff today.
That's right. Yeah, I was at the National Speakers Association conference for this weekend, and it was amazing. I mean, that was. I will say one thing about that.
Yeah,
I am not used to being in a room of like 1,000+ people who are all more extroverted than I am. Right. I just got a total feeling for what it's like to be an introvert, like in normal life. Cause oh my gosh, these people are so outgoing and so extroverted. It was hilarious.
Were they touchy feely? Was everyone like patting the backs and like?
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't as much that like people, definitely there were a lot of huggers and stuff, but like everybody's just so ready to talk to you, and they're so bright eyed and bushy tailed, and they got a message and they're doing something, they want to make a difference. And, and it's awesome actually. Like when I finally got over like the monkey mind and all my comparison stuff and all that, when I finally just was present, it was an amazing group of people who really want to make a difference, and they're courageous enough to freaking get up on stages. And, it was really, really cool.
I mean, man, we're going to jump right into this. You mentioned monkey mind. You mentioned this in your courses.
Yeah.
And you're a big one on, what does that mean to monkey mind?
Okay. So let's get reacquainted with the monkey mind. Okay. So it's going to be kind of weird, but just be with me. So here, we're going to get you reacquainted with the monkey mind. So here we go. So just be with me for a sec. Monkey mind? I don't have a monkey mind.
Yeah.
Maybe he has a monkey mind. I don't have a monkey mind. Like, where'd he get that shirt, right? Is he wearing an Oura ring?
Yeah.
Like, who is this John guy? Right? Like that voice, and it probably sounds like you. Yeah. And it just chatters about everything, right? It's like it's always narrating and talking about what's going on and having opinions and all that stuff. Okay, one of the biggest breakthroughs in my life came from a very touchy-feely place, but a really wonderful place. I think you maybe know him, Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now, right? And in that book, he talks about that voice in your head, and you are not that voice. That's what the Buddhists call the monkey mind. Like all different traditions have different names for it, but it's like, I call it your crazy roommate, right? It comes free in the box with every human. It's always in there. It's always going. And here's the big thing. You are not that voice. You are actually the big silent presence that's listening to that voice. That completely changed my life. Because once I got that I was the listener, I wasn't the voice. And actually the voice is freaking, I think of it like my scared inner child. It's just trying to protect me. Like, don't trust them. Don't get noticed. Shut up, sit down, all that stuff. Like, it's just trying to help, but it's not really very helpful. So once I realized that wasn't me and I didn't have to listen to that and I could separate myself, and I started getting better at noticing the distance between that voice and who I actually am, completely changed my life.
Yeah, man. I mean, I could see that. Like, but
But when was that? Because you were ultra successful, man. You've been on the cover of magazines. You've been on TV a lot. You've been on a lot of stages.
Yeah.
Like you had a battle with that.
Oh,
like,
the whole time.
When did you start that?
Well, so, I had, I started out on the internet in 1994, and I was always a founder or a co-founder or an early stage employee at .com companies. And with my teams, not myself, but with my teams, I raised several $100 million at these various companies. And then in 2000, I had this company with 3 other guys that we had founded. Yeah. I was the 4th co-founder, and we sold textbooks over the internet cheaper than the bookstore. And it was called bigwords.com. And we were crushing it. And then the market changed. And on October 20th, 2000, we went out of business. And our investors showed up. And, one thing that still makes me feel a little bit better, because like, dude, when I tell you this, like, I feel sick to my stomach, right? I'm like, dude, oh my God, aha. But they said, you guys did a really good job. You did what we asked. You grew, and you grew market share. Yeah. And you were the leading marketers in this space for a fraction of what anybody else spent. So like, you guys did a good job, but we don't think we can get you any more money, and we don't think you're going to be profitable fast enough. So we're just cutting our losses and we're going to pull the plug. Dude, So I ended up, we were in South Park in San Francisco. Yeah. I ended up at whatever the 21st Amendment or whatever, where they made one of the first craft breweries, and we all got completely sloshed and cried. And then I almost died of an autoimmune disease because I had not been sleeping enough. That is a dumb thing to do. I don't care what Elon Musk or anybody says. You make bad decisions when you don't sleep enough, and you are killing yourself really slowly, right? I was getting 5 hours of sleep, 4 hours of sleep, like for years. That is not okay. And then the stress of losing the company, I had this sudden onset of this thing called Stevens-Johnson syndrome, which seemed to be driven by the lack of sleep and stress. And I almost died in the hospital in San Francisco. And that was the beginning of like my, being born again or whatever. Right.
Yeah. But during that whole episode, I would say, like, did you ever like think about the monkey mind? Like, when did you hear that? And you're like, wait a minute.
Oh, so,
separate myself because.
Yeah. So it took a little bit. So in that moment, thinking I was going to die, I looked back over my life and I had this big realization. I was like 40, probably 30 something, 40. And, I was like 38 or something. And I look back over my life because like I really thought I was going to die because doctors were coming in. Like it was not funny, right? The doctors that were assigned to me that take care of me. They gave me these looks like they were scared.
Holy.
That sucks.
Yeah.
And then there was a line of doctors who had come in from all over the Bay Area that went down the hall because they all wanted to look at me and see what this looked like because it's pretty rare, right? So like...
You were a spectacle.
I was a spectacle and I was freaking terrified. And I call whatever you want to call the big guy upstairs, I call it the big is, like the beingness of the universe. Cause I was really struck by like, oh yeah, we're human beings. I never thought about that before. We're beings. Wow. That's freaking cool. So I said, big is, my life has been really small and selfish, and it's all been about me. And I've been a nice guy and all that, but it was like, I'm going to succeed. And yes, I want to take you with me, but it's about me, right? I don't want that to be my legacy. If you let me walk out of here, I promise you that I will make my number one goal above all else be to make a difference. Yeah. And I kept my deathbed promise, and every day since then has been gravy on some level. But that started me opening up because I was like, I was a founder of internet companies,
Sure.
right? And I was kind of egotistical, and I didn't have a coach, and I wasn't interested in personal growth and development, right? But I started to get more interested in that. And a little while later, someone gave me that book, The Power of Now, and I read it. And in there, he talks about the monkey mind. And I was just like, holy smoke.
Light bulb, right?
Yeah. I've been letting that thing that is not me, that is insane, run my life. And that's not working.
See, a lot of people would classify that as being vulnerable.
Mm.
And I wouldn't. I would say that that's being aware.
Yeah. I think they're not vastly different, right?
Yeah. And so, I mean, let's jump into that.
Yeah.
So vulnerability from your perspective doesn't look like what the rest of the world may paint it.
Yeah.
So
there's a few things,
your
right?
Definition of vulnerability. Yeah.
So dude, I coach people in this. Like, this is one of the core things that I work with people, and I work with people who are tough guys, right? Like, work with Navy EOD, and I work with, NORAD and the astronauts and whatever. And so I really think that it took me like a decade plus to come up with this term. So I put a little fake TM on it. Yeah. Insightful vulnerability. That's what really makes a difference. It's not vulnerability for vulnerability's sake. It's not like, oh, my life's falling apart and I'm a loser, blah, okay, well, tell that to your best friend. Yeah. Like, don't hide that. Tell somebody, right? But when you're a leader and you're in a position of authority and you're making a difference for people, bring the insight of the vulnerability, right? Like, for a long time, I didn't want to talk about losing $80 million. Yeah. Like, dude, I lost $80 million. Like, what a freaking loser am I? And then a friend of mine was like, John, what are you talking about? Like, you lost $80 million, right? And it reminded me of when I was a little kid singing in the choir. And I grew up Mormon in Salt Lake City, Utah, and I sang in this kids choir. And I remember the teacher saying, okay, like before we went out for our performance, okay, if you're going to make a mistake, just make it loud, right? And I was like, dang, that's pretty loud. Like, I made an $80 million loud mistake, Yeah. And I learned so much, and I realized if I wasn't sharing it with anybody, then all those horribly painful lessons I learned were making a difference for no one but me. And so I had to be vulnerable, couple that with insight, and start sharing it.
It's crazy though, because when you think about it as in a personal frame, you frame it so much harsher, I think. But the realization, like from a lot of people's perspective, you're talking about explosive ordnance devices.
Yeah.
Those folks that work with bombs and explosives. Yeah. Like I've talked to a lot of them. You know what their view on the world is? Nothing belongs to me ever.
Yeah.
So if nothing belongs to me, I don't lose anything because it never belonged to me to begin with.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm going to go in and face this near-death situation, and whatever happens, happens.
Yeah. Initial success or total failure.
Right? It's like when you start comparing, and that's what I think a lot of this comes down to. You start comparing your version of what you think other people think of you, and they don't, man.
No.
Most of them are thinking about themselves.
Well, that's exactly right. Well, I mean, and when what I realized is, I could be making this up, but I think it's true. When I tell that story about losing $80 million, or I tell any other story of where I've done something really stupid or really huge failure or whatever, and I share what I learned, my experience is that the vast majority of people do not say, wow, you're a loser.
No. What
they say is, oh, that's pretty insightful. Like, you can learn from your mistakes. And then I heard about, I talk to a lot of VCs and I do a lot of pitch coaching and all that stuff. And I was talking to a friend of mine who was at an event in San Francisco years ago, and it was a pitch competition, and they asked this one guy. So, one of the VCs asked this one guy, okay, so this is really great. You've been very successful. Have you ever failed? And the guy was like, no.
Oh. Yeah.
You know what the
Failure
VC,
right there.
you know what the VC said?
Yeah.
He said, "Oh, well, then we're definitely not investing in you because we do not invest in anyone who hasn't lost at least $1 million because we don't want to be those guys."
Right. That's a
There you go.
big pill to swallow right there.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, the fear of failure is there, and it should be, but the lessons that other people display, like on your show, you have a lot of people that are on your show,
Yeah.
and they display the failure as a lesson. And
Yeah.
when you reframe that, you're right, man. Nobody's looking at you like a failure.
No.
Turn your victim mentality into a victory.
Yeah.
You know, and that's good, man. Turning your mess into a message is another way to put it.
Yeah. People don't connect with your successes. They connect with your messes. Your message is in your mess.
Yeah.
And you probably, some of your listeners, and you know Dolph Lundgren, right?
Yeah.
So,
Guy.
yeah, me too.
I mean, I follow him on social media. He just became an American citizen. Congratulations, buddy.
Yeah, go Dolph.
That's
Woo!
But you know, I've seen you on stage with him too.
Yeah.
And I've listened to his talks and his story, and it's powerful.
So I worked with him on his TEDx talk for TEDx Fulbright Santa Monica. And if you haven't seen it, it's a go watch. And he is exceedingly vulnerable in that.
Yeah.
And the good news is that, you know, I'm not going to say we're best friends, but like I kept in touch with him. Right.
Yeah.
So like I get to talk to him on a somewhat regular basis. And he told me a little while after that, just about the unbelievable outpouring of, like, you know, one cop walked up to him in LA and shook his hand and said, "Dolph, I love your movies." And then he got all teary eyed and he said, "But I love your TEDx talk more."
Yeah.
And, you know, and they didn't need to say anything more. Like Dolph was like, he probably had gone through stuff like I had gone through, and we just knew it. And, you know, that was one of just so fulfilling to him, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I love the talk. Well, I could tell you have okay. There's a couple things I got to come back for the listeners. So if you're not familiar with venture capitalism, that's venture capital VCs is what he was talking about. And a pitch is when you are able to convey what your service, product, or entity is to someone who has money that's looking to invest.
Yeah.
So those two combination wise, if you're good at speaking and you can get your message across and why this is a good idea, then you know your product is good.
Yeah.
That's what they're looking for.
Yeah.
But I've seen you do this with multiple people where you'll listen to what they have to say and you're like, you know, if you just tweak it a little bit, it sounds better. You did that with me a couple times before I went on set.
Yeah.
And the way that I was able to convey the message is so much stronger whenever I connect with the reality of it.
Yeah.
Like, I'll tell you, one of the personal examples I always give, I was like, John told me exactly how I felt without being there. And they're like,
"Wow, that's good. Thank you."
No, he's like, you know, whenever you tell people, because it always comes out, people are like, "Oh, you worked at the White House."
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
And then they're immediately like, "Well, I never worked at the White House."
Yeah.
Well,
Totally. Right. You have something I don't have.
Yeah,
I can't relate to you. I can't learn anything from
they put me
you.
on this pedestal I don't belong on.
Yeah.
And you told me, you go, well, you probably felt like you were that person at the White House. Like, you know, all these people are walking around and you're seeing these people all over there, very famous. And like, what are you doing there? I'm like, I felt like that all the time.
Right. Right.
And you're like, yeah, but you're not saying that.
Right.
And I'm like, shoot, I'm not.
Yeah.
And it's not because it's not vulnerability there, but it is.
Yeah.
In the fact of, I'm going to be real with you.
Yes.
I don't feel special, unique. You know, my mom says I'm special and unique.
Yeah, right.
And in her world, I am. Yeah. But everyone else's world, the real world,
exactly.
I'm me. I'm no one special.
Yeah.
I'm just in a situation that is cool to be in. So
yeah.
So I want to talk about that. So let's dive into that. Let's jump into EQ, emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
Because of all the things I've seen you work with a lot of people, both at events, and then I've seen you talk to people on shows, and you are able to just grab the emotion that's right there that they don't see half the time.
Yeah.
How did you get so good at that?
Okay. So, you know, I think there's a combination of things. One thing is I I think my mom had PTSD, and so there was kind of a self-protection. I was never abused or hurt or anything, like nobody ever hit me or anything, but emotionally it was my mom's way or the highway, man.
Yeah.
And I got pretty good at waking up and like seeing which way the wind was blowing, right? Because I had to kind of self-preservation as a kid. So I think that sort of was part of it. But then I got trained in this way of listening that I now call the 3 levels of listening.
Okay.
And I really, really got coached and trained in it. And the 3 levels are, first of all, I really trained to try to be able to listen well enough that I could play back what someone just said word for word. So that I could listen well enough to play back what someone just said word for word, right? And then the second level is I really got trained, got my butt kicked up around my ears for a long time to listen for what is the global, what's the emotional milieu? What's the world of emotion? Not just, oh, gee, you're really happy, but like, if you were to just tell me about, like, I don't know, how your son just graduated from high school or something, right? And he got great grades and he was going to go to a great college. Okay, well, first of all, you're happy, right? You're really proud. There's probably some nostalgia there. Like there might be a little bit of sadness, like, wow, holy crap, how'd that happen? I'm making myself cry already, but so to listen for the bigger group of emotions, because we go, oh, you must be happy, right? You graduated. Yeah. Oh my God. But there's so much more, right? Like if you really think about anything ever, there's more than one emotion. And a lot of times there are conflicting emotions, and it becomes very interesting and very helpful to the conversation and the connection and everything that's going on. If you can identify more of those emotions, particularly the ones that are pulling in the other direction from the main one, right? So that's just like already like, holy smoke, interesting. And then the third level is where it gets kind of esoteric, but the third level of listening is, what did they say? What are the emotions? The whole group. And now the third one is, okay, well, what would the person who said that and felt that be committed to? And then to listen for that. And then, in the exercise of doing this, when you play back to someone what they're committed to, like they may not have even realized it till you tell them, right? But deep underneath, because they said that and because they felt that, this really is what they're committed to, but they're not even in touch with it. So I got super trained in listening like that for a long time. And I'll tell you, it was really interesting because all of a sudden, when I started listening like that, everybody got way more interesting and they didn't change. That was me that changed, right?
Yeah. Wow. So, I mean, in my world, Chris Voss comes to mind. Yes,
I love Chris Voss. Like, I don't know him, but I love his book and I read it. And what he is teaching is exactly what I'm teaching too, just different angles on it, right?
Yeah, and I think he has a high EQ. I don't think his EQ is emotional intelligence quotient or whatever it stands for. I don't think it's as high as yours. I think he's just he's able to take one factor. And that's the last one. It's like, what is really being said? Well, maybe 2, because he listens to word for word. And then his tactic is to repeat your last 2 to 3 words.
Exactly. I mean, it's a very similar thing.
It's very similar?
Yeah. I think it's very, well done. Well done. Right. Well done.
But like, that's how it is.
Well, and the other thing that he does, like, here's the big secret that's sitting out there in the open all the time and still is a secret. The big secret is listen, actually listen, right? Because when he's listening to this person in a hostage negotiation, he is not thinking about what he's going to say next, Right. But when I'm at the banquet last night with all the national speakers and like this person who's super famous is talking to me and I'm feeling kind of inadequate, like I'm all of a sudden it becomes much harder for me to listen because like I'm trying to process what I'm going to say next. And I'm all the things in my head about how I'm not good enough. Right. Like just quiet that stuff down and actually listen.
That's amazing. Now you've done a lot of coaching for big names.
Dude, I pinch myself. Like I like you, what you said is true. And I still pinch myself. I'm like, oh, I don't know how that happened.
Yeah. I mean, it's life. Sometimes you're in a situation, but like the question I have for you is real. And I know the audience is wondering, do they still have the same inadequate monkey brain feelings?
Dude,
how many times have you had to talk to people that you would normally be like, you're so...
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like, I mean, yes is the short answer. Yeah. And I'll tell you when it really occurred to me. I went to this event where they were giving this, and I can't even remember the guy's name. I wish I could, but it was at the Milken Center in Santa Monica, which is this big, business focused thing. And they were giving this guy like his 80th honorary degree or something. And he'd written like 50 best-selling business books and everybody knew him, right? And he was in his 80s and he was sitting up there on the stage and I was in the midst of being trained to listen like we just talked about. So I was really listening to him as he answered, right? And it started to become obvious to me really quickly that he totally had this monkey mind thing going on of he was not worthy. He was a fraud. He was an impersonation, like I'm not, if they only knew, right. I'm an imposter. Dude, the guy's 80. He's getting his like 50th honorary thing. He's all these best and he still has that. Yeah. And I was like, oh, it's like working with fractions. If every number you're working with, when you're working with fractions, has the same denominator, like the same bottom number, like if it's all 4, you could just get rid of that. Just get rid of because they're all the same, so it doesn't matter. And now you're just working with numbers instead of fractions, and it's way easier.
I love that.
And I'm like, we all got it. We all have that I'm an imposter syndrome thing. So if we all have it, why don't we all just let it go? Which is still takes some work sometimes. Yeah,
I mean, for a lot of people. And so I'm just going to be real with you. And I've never said this on any show. And, I think for men, it's really hard to admit what I'm about to say. Life's better whenever you have a professional in your corner. And that professional doesn't have to be perfect in whatever it is that you're trying to achieve, as long as they can help you get there.
Yeah.
That's been the night and day difference for me. I mean, it's what I put on my TEDx talk is just, like find the right people.
Yeah.
It makes a big difference.
Yeah.
For you specifically, I mean, I'm going to claim you've coached me. Yeah. So, and that's made a huge difference for me. I mean, the impact that I get to display and actually reach more people amplifies 10 to 50 times more whenever I get to talk to you before I go on a stage or on set or in any manner.
Yeah.
So like if somebody wants that from you, how do they even reach you? Like if I want to talk, because I know,
you got my cell number in your phone.
I know we're connected. But like if somebody wants to say, man, I need John, I need something like that. How do they get a hold of you?
It's pretty easy. I mean, you can go find me on LinkedIn. I'm just linkedin.com/in/JohnKBates, and you can send me a message there. I also, you can go to johnbates.com and hit contact me, and that'll come right to me. Like it goes to my assistant too, but I see those and I respond as fast as I can.
Yeah.
And, a little bit about what you said, because I always have a coach, Atlas. But I didn't used to always have a coach, right?
That was the tipping point for me. I was like,
Yeah.
holy crap, I'm moving way faster. What's the
Dude,
difference?
totally, right?
The people in my life that I asked.
Yes. And you give them permission to freaking tell you the truth, right? So I got to tell you about the book I'm working on.
Okay.
Like
Yeah,
I
please.
just started, but I want to say something before that. Like, think about Tiger Woods, right? Great freaking golf player. He had multiple coaches.
Yeah.
They could not beat him at golf. Hello.
Yeah.
If they could beat him at golf, they would have,
Yes,
right? They don't
true.
they have to be good, but they don't have to be better than you, right? If you're the very best, you still need a coach, right?
Yeah.
And because he was coachable,
Yes.
he beat everybody for what seemed like forever because he had great coaches and he was coachable. They couldn't beat him, but they could have him beat everybody else, right?
That's so powerful in multiple different ways. The whole thing of multiple coaches, it's so true. Like in the military, I didn't have one coach that taught me how to do all the things I needed to do.
Yeah, right.
You know, that'd be ludicrous.
Yeah.
But I had people that knew a lot about certain subjects that taught me how to do that.
Yeah.
Jack of all trades, master of none is better than master of one all the time, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, the different interests of people, and I definitely want to get into your book on this. But the whole aspect of coaching, really, it's underrated. People think that is giving up some kind of manhood token, when in reality,
it couldn't be further from the truth.
Look at every warrior. Look at every king.
Yeah.
Look at. You can go in the Bible. You can go historical.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. They all had people. Even MacArthur's last talk, he's like, "I am just an old soldier, and I will fade away."
Yeah.
He's gonna fade away to what? Like he left an impression on all these people. that he coached.
Yeah.
And he still thinks that he's not worthy.
Yeah,
He's
gonna fade away. Yeah.
It's just amazing to me sometimes. But here's the real picture.
Yeah.
That I want your opinion on this. Tiger Woods.
Yep.
Mike Tyson.
Yep.
Like the greats. We use sports as an example all the time. But usually it's a 5-year cycle.
Mm-hmm.
They get really good at whatever it is that they're doing, with a whole bunch of people's inputs.
Yeah.
In 5 years.
Yeah.
Do you think 5 years is still the timeline for someone to be like from good to great, or from nothing to good? Or
you know, it's it's a really, really good question. And I will tell you from quite a while ago, one of my favorite sayings is, it's easy to be an overnight success when you've been doing something for 10 years. Right.
Oh, yes.
So I say 10 years in that saying, but like, I don't know how long it takes, but this is why I think it's so important to do something you love. Maybe there is some magic in doing something you love, but the real magic in doing something you love is that you will be willing to do it long enough that you could actually succeed.
Yes.
Right. When I started this business, which admittedly is relatively successful now, the first year I started out, Atlas, $50,000 in debt with no idea what I was going to do. And then I started this business because it was the only thing I could think of where I could for sure provide value. And everybody told me I would never make money doing this when I started.
People always like to say that.
I know. Right. And I cried for like a month, and then I was like, okay, screw it. I'm going to do it anyway. Yeah. And I did. And the first year I went deeper in debt. The second year I almost broke even. The third year, I made more than I had ever made in my whole life ever before in Silicon Valley or anywhere. And then I doubled that plus the next year, and I tripled that plus the next year. But like the first 2 years, I was just going further in debt. Yeah. Right. And so, but I loved what I did. I saw the difference over there with people. Yeah. And I was like, okay, let's just figure this out,
Yeah. I want to get into your book again.
I mean, dude, it's almost a joke, but it's actually goes right with what we're talking about.
No, it's absolutely 100%. Like, and I explained it a lot, and it's said a lot of different ways, but it's so flippin' true. One of the the biggest things I like to do is compare like pirate tactics
Yeah.
to like modern day billionaires.
Yeah.
Because there's 330-ish billionaires.
Yep.
They're pretty much in the spotlight. You can tell what they're doing, what they're not doing. Guess what?
Yeah.
They're always doing something they're passionate about.
Yeah, that's right.
And then they find people that are passionate about it too. Not exactly like they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then they collect all these people and then they
Well, and here's the difference.
That's a proper word, by the way.
Yeah. No,
Put that in your book.
here, yeah. You're going to have to teach me how to pronounce it. But here's the difference between millionaires and billionaires, I think. I was on Necker Island with Richard Branson years ago, and he was telling us, and I think he's very open about this, that he like has learning disabilities, right? Like he's got dyslexia and whatever. And so he said, I was never really very good at anything. I never could really, I just couldn't do it. So he would go into like a field, figure it out as well as he could for a little while, find the absolute best people in that field and hire them. And then he would step back and clap for them and applaud them and cheer them on. And that's why he's the billionaire, and he's made tons of millionaires. But, he's the guy who brought them together and cheered them on. Right.
Yeah. There's so much value there. There's so much value there, and it's missed because people think they can do it all themselves.
You're right.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
And, the greats do it in 5 years with a lot of help.
Yes.
So if you're trying to do it with minimal help, it'll probably take you 2
years.
It
might take you longer. Yep.
Take you 15. You may not ever get there, but you're always going to give up if it's not something you're passionate about.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I don't like the saying, do something that you love, because you should already be doing it anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you're not, and you're living your life wrong, you don't get that time back. So start it now.
Yeah. No, for sure.
All right. Your book. Let's talk about your book.
Well, so I'm actually working on a new book, and all we really have is a title and maybe a bit of an outline, but I want to tell it to you because it fits with our conversation.
I love it.
So, and then, if people are interested, I do have a book called Your Itty Bitty Guide to Being TED Worthy.
I actually have that, and I should have pulled that one out. I advise people that are getting on a TED stage to read that all the time.
Thank you. That's cool.
And they all come back and they're like, this is amazing. It has lessons in here that apply to everything.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah.
Dude, that was the hardest book I ever wrote because it's so short.
It's but it's right to the point, and just like your Snoop Dogg quote.
Yeah. Don't be nervous. Be at the service.
I got that sticker on my drum set, by the way.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's good.
So here's the new book and working title: The Billionaire Handbook. How Not to Die Because You're Listening to Sycophants. I think that's a good book for anybody who has a business.
To sycophants?
Sycophants, like people who are just sucking up to you, who won't tell you the truth. They just want to be part of the gravy train, and they'll never tell you what you're doing wrong or what you could do better. They're just going to kiss your butt, right?
That's powerful. I had somebody tell me once, they said, hey, make your friends now, because when you become big, everyone's just going to want something from you, and they're not going to be real with you.
I mean, and I think in rare instances, you can meet people who will be honest with you, but that is absolutely the problem, right? That is absolutely the problem.
Well, so it's a problem until you realize you can pay these people to help you.
Yeah. You can go hire someone who will be honest with you. Yeah.
They will totally be honest with you. I mean, so, Mark Albert, he was a coach. We did the filming in a news studio.
Yeah.
And then he goes, I just want to let you know, the only reason why people would ever ask you on this set is because you worked at the White House.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is true for this specific topic.
I mean, exactly, right?
And I was like, but I never thought about it in that light. Like, I don't care about anything else I want to talk about here, because it's not the point.
Right.
And I'm like, man, I'm glad you gave me that knowledge, because I don't, we can all ramble.
Yeah.
It's the best thing we have.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
What were we talking about? But when you stick to that one point, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
So the book, what inspired the book?
The new one that's coming out. We were talking about some really rich people, and we were talking about some really rich people who seem to be making really bad decisions. And one of the ones that we were talking about that breaks my heart the most, and I don't I can't say I know his story super well,
Mhm.
but Tony Hsieh, right?
Okay.
Delivering Happiness. Like, what a great, good guy
Yeah.
who did something really wonderful, got a whole bunch of money. I think he got surrounded by people who were kind of nefarious and not willing to say, hey, is this really what you mean to be doing? Or is this the most fulfilling thing you could do with your life?
Yeah.
Are you thinking this through? Are you, like, they were like, let's party. Like, you got the money. I'll be, right. And like, that's super easy to do, but he's gone now. Right. And so that's why it's like, how not to die, because you're listening to sycophants, people who are just kissing your ass and not telling you the truth.
That word, sycophants. Did you come up with that?
No, it's a word.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've never heard it before.
Yeah.
So you just enlightened me on that.
I think it's cool because I think it's like a highbrow way to say sucking up to you, sycophant, like whatever. Like, not that I care about being highbrow, but
yeah,
like a sycophant, like the way it gets used is like, it's disgusting, a sycophant,
words are so interesting to me. Like the word mentor, for example, is out of Homer's The Odyssey. So it's been around for thousands of years.
Yeah.
Use it like it's everyday language, but it's really a new word. So sycophant, you could be bringing that one on the stage, and everyone would be starting to use it. People like new words.
But and I think that it's a good point. Like, if we stay with that as the title of the book, maybe we need to say sycophant, and then like sycophant : someone who's kissing your butt and not telling you that, like, however you're.
I mean, I did that with my book. I defined elite because everyone's got a different version of elite.
Yes, that's right.
Everyone has a different version of leadership.
Yeah, totally.
So it's like you have to kind of do that for common ground, but for a new word, for sure.
Yeah.
I think that's part of the charm and the allure. But the whole premise is that's a good book. Now, what are your topics going to be? What are you going to talk about in the book?
One of the first things that I would talk about in that book is this. There's I think it's okay for me to name names here. There is a woman I work with that I coach who speaks very highly of me. Like, she's given me public testimony, so I'm not outing her or anything. Her name is Melinda Richter, and she was the global head of Johnson & Johnson Innovations J Labs. She opened up these no strings attached incubators all over the whole world for Johnson & Johnson to bring in some of the most cutting edge new startups, and they could incubate them, and then they could know them, and they could, if they wanted to invest in the startup, wanted an investment, bingo. And so it was great. And she is one of the most charismatic people I've ever met.
Wow.
And I would coach her regularly. I would say, Melinda, because you are so charismatic and everyone loves you so much, they do not ever want to make you unhappy. So it's much harder for them to tell you the truth because you're so charismatic than if you weren't. So you need to constantly create and recreate a safe space for people to tell you the truth, the stuff they don't want to tell you, the stuff you don't want to hear. Because you're so charismatic, you need to take responsibility for drawing it out of people, because that charisma is going to make it much harder for them.
The kids call it Riz Day these days. They say, get the Riz factor. But so did you create something for her that you're going to share with the world now?
Yeah. Well, I think that everybody does it in their own way.
Fair.
But what I will say is, and the thing is, like, you're charismatic, right? You're charismatic, Atlas.
Yeah, I use the word experiment. I'm like, let's experiment with this.
Yeah.
That takes the failure element out of it, and people don't attach me and emotions to whatever it is that we're doing.
Yeah.
It's an experiment.
Yeah.
It's a game.
Yeah. That's really good. Right. And so I think putting something in your calendar, right? Like every once a month, a reminder or it pops up on your phone or whatever that just says, are you making it easy for people to tell you the truth?
Wow.
Are you encouraging them to tell you the truth, right?
Just to remind yourself that.
Just to remind yourself,
That's
because
good.
one place where it really is a problem is if somebody tells you the truth and you get mad at them,
Oh,
right?
I've seen it though.
You're told all the time,
Well,
dude, all
yeah.
the time. Stuff goes wrong all the time because of that.
Yeah, I see. Well, some people like to call that toxic leadership or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, honestly, if I had someone that was always mad, I liked that person because I knew what I was going to get from them.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Right. At least
So,
they're going to be straight with
yeah,
you.
and it's like they're going to come across really gruff and really straight.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like the people that bounce back and forth.
Yeah.
And so if I was to advise that person that bounces back and forth to put something in their calendar, I think they would probably be one way or the other. You know, or at least stay constant because people want constant.
Yeah.
People crave that constant.
That's true.
consistency.
Well, and you know, I made a distinction a long time ago. When I first became a coach, I just failed. I coached this program and everybody I coached except one totally failed. Woohoo. And I realized, oh my gosh, I was trying to be liked.
Yeah.
Stay with us as we stay on target with another